when I was in high school, I thought you become super successful or you do something else.
Yeah.
And no one at any point really told me there was a middle ground, and there is a middle ground. Hi, I'm Liv.
Hi, I'm Christina, and this is our new show
No Nepo Babies Here. For the artists.
for the jack of all trades, in training and closeted creatives.
Yeah. I got nervous there, can you tell? We're really excited, but
We are so excited.
we are like quite nervous. This is the first time, but we're ready to give it a good go.
Yeah.
We're here to share what we know and figure out what we don't.
Because ambition should not need a trust fund. And that is a great way to bring us to why we're here and what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we thought you needed more people yapping at you on the internet. But secondary to that, both Christina and I are working class creative.
Yes.
We're both pretty much full-time doing all our little
Nicks and
creative
nats.
gigs.
Multiple streams.
Absolutely. And I think we both just felt that there's not really any kind of community for this group of people.
It's hard because I feel like with the arts, because it's so separated in whether you're doing dance or you're doing acting or you're doing creative writing or whatnot, it's so hard to find a community of like-minded people unless you've trained. But for people that haven't trained, where do you find that type of community of people where like you have someone you can ask questions and kind of figure out the way that you're doing things? Because it's hard.
Yeah. And then on the other hand, I know we both have kind of some difficult feelings towards the classical way that we train up creatives, particularly actors and dancers and things like
Drama
that.
schools, conservatoires.
We'll definitely get into that.
We'll get into that. That was
the idea that you have to break people down to build them up. We're here to hopefully just build you up.
Yes.
And help.
Yeah. And we're not we are working professional creative, but we're not professionals in the sense that we know everything. Because the best thing about being a creative as well is you learn on the job, you learn as you're going, and through the mistakes and fails, you actually know how to be able to move on and to create things. And sometimes in mistakes, we find the kind of the most beautiful arts that we create. And so we're just here to kind of be like your big sisters almost and kind of give you advice.
Being creative, if you really want to be creative, you can do it. Don't be stopped by the fact that it is hard when you don't have connections or rich parents. But making art is not a privilege, and it's really important that we continue to get art from people of all socioeconomic backgrounds. So we're here to hopefully, we can't give you the financial support, babe.
Well, listen, we can try and give links and, throughout as much as possible if there's like grants, because I'm always, if there's information.
Here to share the collective knowledge that we have.
Yes, that's
and
it.
not gatekeep it. Because
no gatekeeping around here. Let me tell you that.
Quickly, maybe it's probably a good time to kind of talk about some of the stuff we do.
Yes.
So do you want to start us off? Like, what's kind of your main hustle, and then tell me what you've got going on around the side.
Oh, well, fun fact. I feel like this has been my fun fact of the year. I was actually working in corporate world and I quit earlier this year because I was so
They were
exhausted.
firing all the baddies.
I left.
They were like,
you've got to go.
You've got to go.
I said, I'm gone.
You're making us look bad.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But I realized I was putting so much energy and time into work and the 9 to 5 and also doing, social media and doing acting at the same time. And so I was like, something is going to give and it's not going to be my mental health. So I have to make that choice. So I said, peace. And, and ever since I've now officially become a full-time actor and content creator, and then there's other streams of things that we're doing, but a little poetry, a little podcast that we're doing here.
What's kind of your favorite creative job you've had so far?
Oh my gosh, this past couple of years has been really insane because I took a break and then decided to rebrand myself and restart again. And I think to date the most amazing job that I've been like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is my life right now, is earlier this year. I did signed NDA. I did advert.
Mysterious and really, really cool.
I mean, it's coming by the time this is out. This has already be out, so I think I can say it. But
we can always edit it out.
Yeah, we can. I did an advert for Lad Bible with Google Pixel and their new phones that are coming out, and I got to fly to Bulgaria and like.
Did you get a new phone?
I did. Listen, I'm trying. I'm still pushing.
This is the thing.
I'm still pushing.
Who wants a Google Pixel?
I know, but
I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest. Who does? Do you know a single?
But it looks so pretty.
Oh, does it?
It looks, and even like the new Samsung Flip as well. So
is that the one where it's like a touchscreen, but it?
Yeah, and then I
don't trust it. My mum has one of those. She already smashed it. And when she got it, I was like, well, how does this work? How does it make any sense?
Listen, I love Google and I love, everything.
Absolutely.
But but that is the most exciting creative work that I did so far. I met some amazing people there, and just to be part of such a big thing. And it's my first ever abroad shoot that I've ever done where I've been there from the beginning to the end. So it was so nice to kind of be throughout the whole process and see how it goes and meet all the different people, cast and crew. But what about you? Tell us a bit about your creative aspects and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm freelance. I have quite a few little jobs. They all kind of just center around me being creative in any aspect I will be allowed to be. So I kind of started specifically writing. I've always done writing, and I self-published 2 poetry collections.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Them. I also did a one-woman show at the Edinburgh Fringe that I made after one of those books.
Which she smashed, by the way. Let me just absolutely put that out there. She smashed it. Grew a big community online as well, through it as well. Like, insane.
Yeah, so then through that is like content creation, which I kind of started taking a lot more seriously during COVID. Because I was someone who was just so concerned with what people who I don't even like.
Honestly.
And that kind of paralyzed me probably from about 18 to about 21, 22.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
Because it was strange. My uni experience felt quite high school in that way. I felt like I came out of it and kind of had to learn how to be myself again. And I've always made videos and stuff like that. So now I kind of make TikToks, and I also, my main kind of income stream is I make UGC, so generate.
She be raking in that UGC, and she be hooking me up too. She be hooking me up with UGC.
I will. I'll hook her up anytime with anything you want, babe. It would be my pleasure.
Always.
And I've done some cool stuff there. Probably the coolest thing I've done was this year when I got paid to go to Central America and make travel content. That was, it was a manifestation in my journal.
It was. I'm saying this like I've seen her journal, but
she is. She's seen it. She's seen all my secrets, and that was surreal to get to do. Like, that is kind of my dream, and I was able to do that, and they really like the content I made. So now I'm working with them long term.
Hear that? Long term, people.
And a lot of kind of why we wanted to do this as well is that people think opportunities will like come to them.
No.
Which does sometimes happen.
But
you need to chase them down.
This is it. And
you need to absolutely chase them down.
Sometimes in our industry, it's so easy to be like, oh my God, you're so lucky. No. I've been preparing for this moment. So when the opportunity came, I was ready. Because best believe it wasn't like, oh, this opportunity's come. And because if you're not ready, you have to stay ready to be ready.
Am I lucky, or are you just lazy?
Oh. No, it's true. It's true, because people don't take into consideration of like the constant searching for your own jobs, the constant researching, the constant training yourself, working on
learning new skills all
the time. Like, that all is part of the preparation, and it's all the behind the scene works that you don't see. When you do see the final product, you're like, oh wow, I bet she got that easy. It's like
no, like that. traveling job I seeked out and applied for myself. I felt super unqualified for it at the time. Up until like me being on it, I was like, these guys don't know. These guys don't know. I don't belong here. I don't know.
And this time she does, because you
Well, I
absolutely
loved it.
smashed it. She went to all these beautiful countries. You recorded the content for them, and it was fun and it was engaging.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no wonder that they've decided to make you long term, because you did a good job. And sometimes
I had to learn on my feet there as well, because so I had to do 4 YouTube videos, which you're familiar with making YouTube videos, but that's one thing that I've had on my list for a long time and haven't done. So then it kind of forced me to learn.
And I'm not going to lie to you, I am a witness to this, because so Liv has this thing that she puts on her TikTok where she does it. I think she was doing it like per month. She'll put like how much TikTok followers she's got, how much Instagram followers has she got, and she'll be like, have you started YouTube yet? And he'll be like, no. And so like she'd always post it, and I'll be like, babe, it's time to post a video. Babe, it's time to post a video. So I'm so happy to hear that you've actually done that as well. That's sick.
Starting a podcast was also on my list.
Yeah, yes. This has been on my list since 2020, vision board wise.
Yeah. I was just waiting for kind of what felt right.
Yeah.
And this felt right, not just because the cards told me so.
Oh, yes.
That's an whole other thing.
This is, we're not going to get into the intricacy of how we met, but my babes is
actually.
Should we?
We probably should, because it's to do with.
It is to do with being creative.
We met live streaming.
Yes, we did.
If you can believe it.
No, actually, I retract it right now. It's going to be beeped.
Yeah. It was like, imagine TikTok live, but in the trenches.
Oh,
with warfare, nuclear warfare.
Like, but in that like insaneness, we found each other. We
developed this beautiful friendship.
We've been friends now for 4 years now.
Yeah, because this was 2020.
We've been friends for 4 years.
I know. So we're actual like online friends
that become real friends.
That became real friends.
Yeah.
And I think as a lot of the things we'll go into with this podcast, as well as like the importance of community and collaboration, for as much as you can learn skills yourself. And I think learning as many skills yourself as you possibly can is great. It's also great to know when, okay, this isn't my area of expertise. Can I go to someone else
that is more experienced
those skills, and maybe they can teach me how to do those things as well?
Never shy away from people that you feel like they are maybe a few steps ahead of you in your industry, or maybe in a completely different side of the industry, because we can always learn from each other. There's things that I have learned. There's so many times where I've had poems, I'm like, hey Liv, like, can you just check this out and see as is? And my girl, which she didn't have to, but she went through my whole Google Docs, gave me notes and all that stuff. Like, and it's just like, when we can, in this community and just in any type of community, using each other as resources is so important, because I've got something that you may have that you may not have, and you may have something that I may not have. And when we put our minds together, they always say 2 minds are better than one. So especially when it comes to creative, you need that community and that collaboration, because that kind of helps us be able to put all our ideas together and be able to
people
create.
Often recognize that so many creative pursuits are so isolating.
Yes.
They're so individual. Like, unless you're like, maybe a bit different for certain things in theatre or on sets, but if you're like an artist, if you're a writer, if you're a content creator,
all of it,
most of the time is being spent completely alone, trying to come up with stuff. And that is a really hard way to just only have your critic and not have any outsider input. Is really difficult. And it's really, I always think of, it's a random thing to bring up, but Stephen King talks about in his book about writing, he's talking about, he wrote Carrie, and he says the only reason that book came out is because of his wife. And that's because he says, if you can have just one person who really believes in you,
that's all that matters.
That can be the difference. Because one day he took the screenplay, put it in the bin, she pulled it out, straightened it and said, I think this is really good. You need to work on a few things, but you should really keep going with this. And now Carrie is like one of the most
best
famous books and films
ever
of all time.
And they've made so many different versions of it, but it just goes to show, because I feel like there's so many moments that we have that little voice that can be our doubts. There's been so many times, and I feel like you might relate to this. There's been so many times where I have an opportunity and I have this feeling, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to go. Like, my best friend is also an artist, and she's always like that person. I've got loads of people around me, thankfully, that are very like supportive creatively wise, but there'll be sometimes I'm like, I'm not going to this audition. She'll be like, just go, so at least number one, you meet the people, and number two, if it goes well, it goes well, and if it doesn't, at least you can say to yourself, I actually put myself forward, rather than when you're in that moment of doubt and be like, oh, I should have gone to the audition. How can I say I want to do this, but I'm not even like doing the small things towards it, you know?
And that's the thing. That's one thing that I've been thinking about a lot today as well. Like, getting out of your comfort zone is really uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
I'm so excited and pleased to do this, but obviously there's my nervous system, my subconscious that is like really, really scared.
So scared.
Because like your subconscious lives to keep you safe.
Yeah.
So the minute it likes doing the same things it does every day.
Yeah.
Again and again forever.
Which is so hard as a creative, by the way.
Especially when I do different things every day forever. Yeah, like at the minute, I'm like, why am I constantly feeling like, oh? But if you're wanting to get out your comfort zone, which is whenever there is resistance, there will be growth.
Yes.
And that is an amazing thing. But you've got to realize it's going to feel
awkward.
Because
you don't know. You've never been. But I feel like that is the main important thing with this. And that's why we're doing this. As much as we're like, we might seem like we're knowing what we're doing, we're just figuring it out. And that's the main message that we are coming with our podcast to show. As we are figuring it out, we are also going to give advice along the way, because I just feel like that's what we need as a community of creatives. And so whoever you are, or whatever stage of level in career that you're in or in this industry, we hope that you listen to this and it is kind of like a source of just like, I feel like that too. I know how that feels as well.
I know that sometimes I'll put like a podcast on almost as like a comfort, depending on the kind of podcast. And that's kind of what I want to be. Like, sometimes you're exhausted. You feel like you can't necessarily be working on your stuff.
True.
But, you know, taking in that information, listening to all that good stuff and like figuring out, I want people to know, when I was in high school, I thought you become super successful or you do something else.
Yeah.
And no one at any point really told me there was a middle ground, and there is a middle ground. It's not easy to be a working class creative.
No.
But if you have the desire to be creative, then the only thing harder will be not doing it.
Trust me, because you do not want to be sat in an office where you don't want to be doing what you're doing the same thing every single day, being like, I feel miserable and tired.
Some people like that.
Yeah, some people do like that. Shout out to them.
Some people know
that's not what they want to do.
That's not what you want to do. No. And the only thing worse than like wasting all this time is wasting a minute more.
Yes.
Because for ages, when I think back, I wish I'd started content creation earlier. Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm just so glad I eventually did it, because as well, if you want to get into content creation, you're going to have to make a lot of bad stuff.
A lot.
With any art form, you have to make a bunch of bad stuff before you make anything halfway decent. That's okay. It's definitely nerve-wracking with content, because you are being so witnessed.
Yes.
And it feels so embarrassing. But I actually find the people that find it embarrassing the most embarrassing of all.
No, honestly, because how can you sit there in your house and be sitting there judging? But I'd like to welcome you to try and do your stuff.
Though.
You're watching, but you're actually participating in the engagement. Like, shout out all the haters that be commenting and that be saying all that type of stuff.
Ghost watching.
Babes, thank you. You're all part of my engagement. Just to let you know, you're all part of the engagement. Thank you so much.
Even when I get I've got a comment not long ago that said, repent, you internet harlot.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Thank you.
First
of all, almost changed my TikTok username to internet harlot. That is awesome. You don't so that was so hard that you accidentally give them the coolest nickname.
No, honestly,
that
should be an Instagram name.
Internet harlot.
No, honestly.
Yeah.
But yes. Sorry, I forgot the point that I was about to make there. In terms of also with content creating and just we'll get into more of this in further episodes.
Sure.
Don't feel like you should limit yourself. Coming back to working class creatives and what you have resources to, don't feel like you should limit yourself to get the best products and then you'll start today, start tomorrow. If you've got a phone, if you've got any type of device,
The best products
start
won't help you.
No, honestly, because you will spend a lot. I've spent so much money on some products. I'm like,
and do you still use them?
No, I don't.
Most of them, no.
I don't.
And there comes a point when you've refined your craft that, sure, you elevate those tools, you elevate your phone. Like, I reached a point when I've been making content for about 2-3 years where I wanted a new phone because I was like, I think my content would be elevated by a better quality camera.
Yeah.
Which I do think it has been. But there's no point in at the beginning being like, well, once I get all these things, I'll be good at it. No, you won't.
No, it's just another way of you trying to control, and that fear.
It's another way of you trying to put off doing it.
Yeah. At its finest. And I think that is a great way to round up why we're here, what this podcast is for, and we shall see you on our next episode. Have you got anything else to say before we sign out?
I did see, I wrote some little questions, but I lost them. So...
No. If we've got the questions, we can chuck it out. We have the next segment.
Okay, maybe this is a good question, I think, that we should finish on this before we close up. We've talked about like your biggest kind of what you feel your creative achievement is so far. Okay. What has been your biggest obstacle creatively? Other than like being poor. Not saying you're poor, we're poor.
No, we're not poor. We're blessed.
Well, no, we're blessed.
We're pre-rich.
Yeah, we're pre-rich. Yeah. We are.
What has been... Rich. So ask the question one more time so that I can...
What has been the biggest obstacle creatively for you as a working creative?
I think when I had to do a show at Kensington Palace, and I think at this time I was living in... Well, I think I still was living in North London. But if anyone knows the journey it takes to go from one side of London to like Kensington area every day. And I think sometimes creatively, I think it put me in a mindset where I'm like, fuck.
Is this your roundabout way of saying your biggest obstacle is getting somewhere on time?
No, we got there on time. We did sometimes. But it was just like, I think sometimes mentally it was really exhausting just getting there sometimes and still being able to, because the thing that I had to do there was like, it was so physical and it was so it was like mentally physical draining, and I still had to make sure I'd showed up and all that type of stuff. And I was just like, had I been living in a different area, had there been extra resources, I would be able to like take care of myself better in that terms of like what to do for the show. The show still was great, but it did make me question certain things of like where I live, how far I lived, and in just maneuvering. And it's like all the things that I shouldn't have to be worrying about when I could just have the energy to be creative is sometimes so draining. Like even when I do certain like projects, some things like hair and makeup is such, and I've only recently realized that in my last project that I did, that this is such a big worry for me, that it actually sometimes takes away from the creative, because I get so anxious about things like, am I going to get there all right, or will they have the right person for me product wise, and will they be able to, and so then it takes me out of the creative aspect because I'm thinking about all the things that I shouldn't be.
And they're two different state of minds. Like that, it makes me think so much of, they always say with writing, you should write and edit at different times because they're different brain processes. And that is very much like that. Like one is the creative play-like thing and the other is the practical problem solving thing. And they're not easy to jump in and out of.
No. So any type of job that takes me out of the creative aspect and I have to start thinking the logistics and all that type of stuff, I always find that hard because I'm like, I'm having to like fight two forces at the same time, when really the main worry I should be is getting into the studio and putting all my creative aspect so I can feel safe and be able to do my thing. So yeah, that's me. What about you?
I think knowing when to let things go if they aren't for you.
Okay.
I think that, for my entire life, up until my first year of studying drama, I wanted to be an actress.
Oh, yes.
it was all I knew that I wanted, and I was so sure that that was what I was going to do. And that's the thing, you tell yourself all these stories about yourself, and you make them your reality.
Yeah.
When what I really realized when I went to uni was that I love performing. For me, it felt quite different when I was very restricted on what I was performing. And I knew that if you're going to be an actor, you have to, like, it's part and parcel of doing stuff you don't want to do in that way. And I just realized that for me, that like removed the joy of it.
Fair.
So I kind of probably for about a year just battled with not being able, with like having to let go that part of myself.
Yeah.
Like, not to say, like, I definitely act again.
Yeah.
But like, I used to think that was going to be my central thing.
Yes.
And kind of realizing that you don't have to know, you can change your mind. Like, the time of having one career for the rest of your life is long gone anyway. We don't live in that world. No. And I think it was kind of, it was difficult for me, probably for the younger version of myself, to be like, no, you admit that I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'd been so sure. But like, you've got to really want to do that.
But it's because also some institutions don't always make it the best place for you to, like, they make you feel like it's one or like you put all of your energy into one thing or you don't do anything at all. And it's like, I think that's a really hard message to put on people, especially when you're at uni or you're at drama school or at conservatoire and you're a working class creative, because you have to get a job.
You've got to be doing
so
it.
You have to, your energy can never just be purely, this is coming back to the whole having the two different brains, because one brain wants to be in a safe space and be able to create, but the other space is thinking, am I going to be able to pay my rent?
On the table.
I need food on the table. I need to be able to get back on time so that I can get to my job and then come back, do my work. So this is another aspect of where, and I actually brings me to a conversation I had with a friend, a former friend, and I don't think they meant it in malice, but I was staying at their house because it was really close to a workplace that I was working at, a call center, and so this was like a weekend shift, and she was just like, it's so hard sometimes with like, money and stuff, like, because like if you don't have enough money, you've got to spend a lot of your time making money. And if you do have a lot of money, you have a lot of time. And she's saying this whilst I'm staying at her house, that her mum's paying for, by the way. I'm staying at her house because I literally cannot go all the way back.
First day critical thinking, my sweet baby.
I said, really? And she realized what she said, and she's like, no, I don't mean like that. And obviously, like, you're working, you think. I said,
I've heard,
baby, it's okay. It's
I've
okay.
heard a rich person say the exact same thing.
I don't think they realize.
But say like, oh, it's really annoying because I'm having to spend so much time working when I don't, like, when I should just be, which, like, it's like,
yes, darling, yes.
Yeah, literally.
I don't think she meant malice by it, but it was just that
people
day.
Don't know their own experiences.
This is it.
It should never be like, that's the thing. I think it's a good thing to preface before we close up. When we say like no Nepo babies here, Nepo babies are allowed to exist.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I love me.
My kids are gonna be Nepo babies. Let me say that. Let me say that straight. My kids are gonna be Nepo babies. I don't have a problem with nepotism.
No, I've got some.
I just want everyone to have a piece of the cake.
Yes, absolutely. And the only problem I kind of have,
yes,
is all that, like, people can't help what they're born into.
No, it's true, but stand 10 toes on it.
When you have it,
stand 10 toes on it. Yes, I am a Nepo baby, and I have to work extra hard to be.
Turn around to me and you go, yeah, like, my dad's super famous, but it absolutely did nothing. I had started in the same place as everyone else. Well, that just shows me that you lack awareness.
Yes.
There's one thing, I think someone who said it really well, I forget her name, but she's Uma Thurman's child.
Oh, I love her.
And she's amazing. Amazing actress. Amazing singer too.
Yes.
And she said, like, yeah, I've had loads of opportunities and the best I can do is just make the most of them. And it's like, wow, perfect.
It's like the girl, I can't remember her name, but she's really amazing as well. She was in 50 Shades of Grey. I shouldn't just result down to her there, but she's a really good actress as well. Right. I've forgotten her name. We'll come back to it. But she's obviously her stepdad is Antonio Banderas. Her mum is also like a very prolific actor. And her dad is also an actor. She's come from the industry, but she never comes and sits and be like, oh, I never got this opportunity, because she's like, yeah, I did. Like I have these connections.
Oh, wait, I think we're talking about, isn't that the lady that was like, I find the whole conversation really annoying. I don't think it has anything to do with anything.
Did she say that?
Yeah.
My bad. I must be thinking about another actress. Yeah, Dakota. Yeah, I must be thinking about another actress. But
no, I
didn't realize that she said that.
No, I think she was like, I actually just find it really boring. Like, don't you have anything better to talk about?
No, babes, that's why we're here doing a podcast called No Nepo Babies Here. That's literally why.
Well, I think we're giving them too much of our limited limelight, so we should close up
let's close
the Nepo chat.
But no hate to the Nepo babies.
I like
we love some of you, especially
Margaret
the ones
Qualley, love her.
Oh, she's great. She's great. The Substance.
Have you seen it?
I haven't watched it, but I've heard everything and I need to watch it.
10 out of 10.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with coming from nepotism or having a silver spoon or having family connections. If you have it, use it.
Obviously.
Do you know what actually annoys me? Is the people that do have the access, but then they're trying to make their own way. And I'm like, baby, please. Baby, use the connection, use the money, and get it. If you're going to do something good, you better do it great. Yeah. You know? Don't be absolutely going
for it. Yeah.
When you have the opportunity and you have the resources.
If I had the connections, I'd be like, Christina, who? I'm out of here. I'd be like, no, Nepo babies, it's just you. Sorry, babe, can't relate.
No, do you know what I mean? But it's not to put any hate on them at all. It's just to highlight more so on we want to eradicate gatekeeping as much as possible.
We want creatives to be reflected in the culture, because that like working class people are.
You can make art about working class people, but you don't want to use working class people. How does that make sense?
Yeah. Unless you're like taking your little edgy fashion photos in front of like a council estate, but that's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other conversation for a whole other day.
This was so fun.
This has been great.
I'm sweating a little less.
Yeah, you know, as we eased into it, I started to get more comfortable. Do I still want to vomit? Absolutely.
Mum, spaghetti.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I've been Christina.
And I've been Liv.
And we are
No Nepo Babies Here.
No Nepo Babies Here.
Each time you come back, I'll remember it more.
And I guess we'll see you our next episode.
Yeah.
All our listeners.
If you want to find Christina.
Oh, yes. I forgot. There's the part to self-plug. If you want to find me on Instagram, basically, I'm Christina Verse, like a universe. Christina Verse on Instagram and TikTok is with an underscore. On YouTube, it's not.
Yeah, and I'm the Unpoetic Poet on everything. We will probably be having some different socials come up, but for now, if you find us through then, you'll be able to keep up with what's going on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you. Bye.